Good morning and welcome to our webinar today. Thank you for joining us. Today your session will be a co-presentation with VdS, which is Europe #1 certification institute specializing in fire protection, security and natural disaster prevention. Our topic will be the application of EN54 fire alarm systems in Latin America. Before we get started, a few important technical information. We will record the webinar and make it available for you in our YouTube channel. All attendee lines are muted to ensure the audio quality. Please send your questions via the Q&A section. You can enter your question during the webinar at any time. At the end of the session, we answer all questions. The Q&A field can be found on the right side of your screen. The language of the presentation will be English, but we have colleagues in the line who will support us to answer your questions coming in local languages. Let me start with a short introduction about our presenters today. Mr. Iván Paredes, who is the Regional Product Marketing Manager for Latin America. Dr. Florian Schär, Coordinator of Partner Relations at VdS. And our colleagues who are supporting us in the call with questions coming in local languages, Mr. Jason Oliveros and Mr. Renato Lima, Marketing Managers from Colombia and Brazil. How we are going to build up our session today. After this short introduction, I'm going to hand over the presenter right to Mr. Schär. Then Iván Paredes will continue about the Security System Designer program. And then we would like to close the session with the question and answers block. And now I would like to give you the floor, Florian.
Sí.
And now the right is at you.
Yeah, I got it. Buenos días, bom dia, estimados y prestados expertos para fire protection. A hearty welcome to the very first VdS presentation in América Latina. It's a pleasure to be, well, unfortunately not here, but basically here online with the Bosch team, with you. I'm sorry we cannot do this in person because I totally love coming over to your beautiful countries. And hopefully once all this lockdown jail has ended, we will be able to meet in person. And by the way, Bosch team, I really like your countdown music. Now, why should you spend 30 minutes and anyhow care what I am talking about my institute? Because hopefully in a few minutes you will say, hey, this was really helpful for my daily work and business. Now, for starters, one basic issue I hear a lot from our partners around the globe, selling, recommending, installing top safety systems like those of Bosch, is their customers, the users, operators stating, okay, fire, fuego? Why the heck do I need protection against fire? Because I'm not a chemical plant, I'm not a pizza bakery, there's no chimney, there are no candles in my company, so it can never burn, there can never be a fire. So if this comes up, as quite often, I'd like to support you with some helpful statistics. If you know those already, just give me some hands up in the Q&A box and I'll skip this part. Any study I've seen around the entire world states the main source of fire in all industrialized countries, your countries, Alemania, también Estados Unidos, is always electricity. Catastrophes like this one pictured can happen from installation flaws, can be caused by simple aging in the ventilation, in the lights, in the computers, also in the many sockets which are placed in every building and which can never be switched off. So therefore, fires are threatening every single sector, every single building. So every 3 seconds, a fire breaks out around the globe. Every year, there are 6 billion euros fire damage in Germany alone, $328 billion fire damage in the United States. And Germany has an extremely high level of regulation. There was an article recently in a large newspaper headlined "The Dictatorship of Fire Protectors." And still, there is a larger fire at a company in Alemania every 5 minutes. A single kilo of burning plastic, meaning the flames themselves are quite harmless. You might only have to do some little repair on the floor. But the single kilo of burning plastic already creates up to 2,500 cubic meters of highly toxic smoke, contaminating entire rooms, everything it reaches. When a computer burns, the product of this combustion is always hydrocyanic acid in the air, which was used as a chemical mass murder weapon in World War I and was then banned in the Land Warfare Act because it was so cruel. In a fire, we have exactly this weapon banned for use in war, in the offices, in the factories. Studies in Germany show that the smoke damage usually exceeds the flame damage tenfold. Another argument often heard is users, operators saying, hey, I have insurance. So if there is a fire, everything will be paid for. I don't have to worry at all. Well, after a somewhat larger fire, a company usually looks like this one in a picture. The ability to provide services is massively limited, no matter whether it's a production plant, a shopping center, a stadium, or anything else. Studies in Estados Unidos and Alemania Alemão show that 1 year after a larger fire, only 26% of the affected companies are still in the market. Why? Damage is paid by the insurance company, yes. Quite often, even business interruption is paid by the insurer, okay. But fire destroys a company's infrastructure. Usually, special machinery is affected. Here we have a waiting period of at least 6 months for replacement. And it's also not exactly easy to get the special craftsmen needed to rebuild such a severely damaged complex. So the companies can no longer supply. Therefore, even the very best customers are clearly forced to leave because no customer can wait months or maybe even years for a delivery. This is what finally forces companies into insolvency after a fire damage. As our insurers say, when larger fires happen, the business interruption insurance only covers the time up till insolvency. So let's say enough of those horror statistics, give us some good news. Okay, I do, you do, because you are safely protecting your customers, human lives, and the entire environment from these bad numbers by relying on the immediate and proven reaction of VdS certified automatic safety systems. Because no matter if it's the Copa del Mundo, Copa America final, or the highlights of Carnival, the systems are safely watching 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Now, unfortunately, there's one core problem with such highly complex technology, and that is how can we ever be able to tell if this is really going to work when a fire happens? If this will reliably protect my customers even many years after the installation? No one can ever ensure that by just looking at these systems, and this is why we are here. VdS is answering the one key question for everyone involved in fire protection technology. Will that safely work in an emergency? Because everything else, which specific system it is, the design, even the price, is secondary. And that is core matter is definitely proven and ensured in practice, can be seen at first glance with the VdS quality seal. Recognized by authorities in all Latin America countries. And you'll see the last point there, the guidelines, quite important. I'll come to that in a special slide later on. So VdS is basing on the European norms. This is why I'll give you a little background. There was a really bad fire in the year 1967 at a mall in Brussels, resulting in 251 fire deaths. This is a really bad number, and of course, this clearly has impact on people. So after such heavy catastrophes, there is pressure from public opinion and media on the politicians, because nobody says, hey, no worries, we'll just wait for the next fire to happen with the next 200 plus dead. No, people and media demand a change something, do something that stuff like this can never happen again. So pressure on politics, so they had experts create safety norms. And the European norms are numbered. You can see European norm 2 ever to come up was on fire classes. And then finally in EN54, we had a product standard for fire detection and alarm systems. Target, as stated in the last bullet point, test methods, performance criteria for effectiveness and reliability to be assessed and declared. Okay, I'm going to read all this to you now. Sorry, I'm just way too funny. Just a sheet to look on. You'll get a presentation later on. This is all the brain power that is going into the European standards. And now quite an important point, the standard comparison for fire detection, control, and indicating equipment, the head of the machinery that is protecting us. When you're looking at this, you may wonder, hey, why is that almost all the same? Because when we have a nice idea, the Americans also add that. If the Americans have a nice idea, we add that into our standards, which is basically totally fine. This is joint copying for global safety. Now you see some minor differences here. First of all, the point 2 marked in green and red, the humidity. In many regions of Los Americas, I say we are probably way closer to the 5% humidity than to the 95% from UL. And then there's the fault signal, which must happen if, for example, a detector is being removed or is maybe being trashed by the cleaning person. Now, I don't assume somebody will die because of a 100-second fault signal difference, but we can also emphasize that the Bosch products, VdS approved, give this important warning signal in half the time as UL products. Then we have the point, the digital system fault. We say this is very important, and I assume that UL will also take this into account in their next issue. But currently the status is only VdS approved systems like those of Bosch offer this, which means exactly that the increasingly important software is constantly monitored, mostly by a watchdog program. And if a single byte is missing or is going in the wrong way, in the wrong direction, your customers are instantly informed. Now, one core question I asked when I saw this, and which I also hear quite often when presenting this, so I'll go for it right now, is, excuse me, The second point from the bottom, silencing of sounders. Why would I ever want to silence the sounders? That is, for example, when a fire brigade arrives, they like to turn the alarm off for coordinating their rescue activities. But if a fire breaks out at any other place within the building, then the alarm does start again. Now you can say, okay, sounds good, but please give us detail, give us some proof. How can we be sure that VdS safety protects us and our customers, people that are relying on us? Because we are evidencing supreme reliability by practical endurance specifications in worldwide unique Alemann-Alemão laboratory infrastructure. Same as, for example, at Underwriter Laboratories, the tests are subdivided into the two main parts, functional testing and environmental testing. Products and systems must prove that they are effective at all times, also after artificial aging and also under a wide range of difficult environmental conditions. We're using artificial aerosols, we're using real test fires, and for extinguishing systems, they even must prove that they are working in exact replicas of the planned extinguishing environment. So basically, want to remember, our job is to heavily mistreat the safety systems and then make sure they still function. So you can see directly at first sight, yes, this has VdS on it, this will save human lives and entire companies. Long term and also under any, even the toughest environmental conditions. Here I have directly underlined the two probably decisive points for you. Because there's a frequent situation that consultants, planners, installers report to us again and again. They are to install a fire protection systems. And the authorities require compliance with maybe ISO or EN standards, which are, by the way, mostly quite similar. The operator might state, hey, we are part of an US-American corporation, so our fire alarm technology must comply with NFPA requirements. And then maybe the insurance company comes along, could, for example, be German Allianz, because they do a lot of business in your region, and demands, hey, this system must be installed according to VdS guidelines. When this happens, like so often, those responsible, mostly you find listeners, usually ask themselves the following very important technical question, and that is, why me? Well, hopefully, we can make your work a lot easier here. VdS approved products comply at all times with European standards and almost always with ISO specifications. And VdS approved products can always be used in installations according to NFPA 72. Also NFPA 2001 if some of you are doing gas. For this, we will gladly send you written proof, and you will also find it tomorrow on the VdS LinkedIn channel. So with VdS, you are directly covering all relevant standards directly from one source. Done. You can see in bullet point number 3 that I've put the FM factory mutual in italic. This is because FM is accepting VdS products in many regions, is basically accepting VdS products, and we are just starting a cooperation with FM, so that will increase, but it's not 100% sure yet, so unfortunately italic yet. So we are technicians, so some more technical detail. I'm not fully sure if you can read this, but I'll just go for the most important points. And as I said, you'll get a presentation afterwards, and then you can read all this very nice small print. Both EN and UL standards are in constant motion, in flux. But currently, when you're looking at point 4 and 5, just above the bottom, UL is currently not ensuring that the detectors also react in high ambient temperatures. We think this is quite important, especially in the usual heat in most Latin America regions. And the smoke detectors, if you can hopefully read this, I can read it a little. Point 2, the ingress of foreign bodies. This was one of the main triggers of false alarms in Germany in spring and summer when loads of insects are flying around. And many American regions always have German spring and summer temperature. And as we know, frequent false alarms make users hate the technology and not listen to it when there's a real alarm. So the intrusion of bugs or other insects can be prevented by a very simple, cheap grid. And I strongly assume that in the next version, UL will reasonably demand this. Point 4 is the repeatability. We measure the results of our test 6 times in a row to make sure that the detectors do not just contain a random luck generator. And point 6 stating that we perform all tests with 20 detectors to make sure they all react the same way. Now a little insight into the VdS laboratories, blue on the left. There on the left side, you see the smoke duct, which any certification institute has to buy for tests according to the European norms. It creates artificial smoke aerosols and measures exactly how many of them are in the air when the detector reacts. On the right, you see the wooden box in which UL puts burning cotton cords and counts the seconds till the detector goes off. Now, another comparison on the backup we're giving, the American approach is they're doing product testing, and then they have planning and installation guidelines according to NFPA 72. Same as which you can see in the European triangle, product testing, yes, planning and installation also, but European norms always also demand system testings as an additional safety point, with more detail on the next slide. This is a really important assurance for you and a unique selling point for VdS, the system approval. Because each of us knows this very often happen in case we have a system in which, let's say, 100 parts are installed, 99 of those parts work perfectly, 1 part is scrap. Then, unfortunately, there's a pretty good chance that the entire system will not work, cannot save anyone, cannot protect any building. With VdS approved technology, this cannot happen because we always ensure the safe functioning of all components in their interaction as a system. Also at full capacity, like power for the fire detection alarm systems or the highest water pressure, gas pressure for the extinguishers. That's why our approach is called the all-round worry-free solution by governments, consultants, and other fire protection experts around the entire world. Okay, now important question. If this is so important, system approval, why is not everybody doing this? Because it's very expensive. If manufacturers change one component, then we have to pay for the entire system test again. But Bosch is doing this, is paying this for totally ensuring the proven safety of your services and your customers. Now some more NFPA detail. Since NFPA is a US standard, people sometimes assume listed means UL listed. But NFPA by no means requires that testing and listing shall be based on an American or US American product standard. NFPA 72 leaves this open by purpose, allowing for solutions that provide an equivalent or better safety level, as you can see in chapter 1.5. They are demanding a regular monitoring of products, of course done by VdS and any EN institute because it's important. And they want a competent organization accepted by authorities having jurisdiction. Yes, VdS is #1 in Europe and accepted by authorities all over the world. So products approved by VdS, always also certified in accordance with the EN54 series, can be used anytime in NFPA 72 installations. And also NFPA 2001 for those of you who are also doing gas. Some more points that might be helpful for you when you're using the systems. VdS is of course accredited by the German state. And thanks to 114 years of experience, we know exactly where to look for finding any risks. And with 30,000 system inspections every year, if there are any new threats or if there are any new technical possibilities, we know them. So our mission, easing safety by detecting any flaw in a complex technology immediately and not while fire is raging. So as you can see, strong international cooperations, for example, also with FM Global, ISO, or with anything that has to do with the European norms. And we are founding member of the European Fire and Security Group, giving you one more little plus point. We are regularly audited and attested by experts from all those top EU laboratories for highest testing accuracy. Ay caramba, una más that could be important for your work. A very big player in the safety markets are the insurers. So when you are dealing with them, it should be helpful to mention that VdS was founded as the official sprinkler testing laboratories of the German insurers. ¿Por qué sprinklers? Because in 1908, that was the only safety technology existing. And we are still 100% owned by the German Insurer Association with members like Allianz or Munich Re. And of course, with annual payments for fire damages amounting to 2 billion euros every single year in Germany alone, they keep a very close eye on fully reliable safety technology. Yeah, when you look at the picture on the right, you can see that's a football stadium that we are inspecting. This is unfortunately located in Cologne, so there's only low-class football played there, but I wanted to show you a better picture. This is our inspection of the stadium for the semi-finals of the Euro tournament in 2012. And if any of you has seen this, a German team was in it, unfortunately lost. And we said it was probably because the stadium for the big final, it was not VdS inspected and approved. So the players probably said, hey, we're not gonna play there. It's too risky in case of fire, so we better lose this game. Yeah, what can we do? Now the guidelines, as I promised we'd come to. I must unfortunately say we do not have any guidelines in Espanol or Brazil Portuguese yet. It's mostly English and German, of course. The good thing is they are preferred worldwide for highest precision and usability. And we were very proud when the safety and construction press were calling our guidelines technical Bibles. And usually when a EN and ISO standard is coming out years after VdS guidelines on certain matters, then it is usually basing on the VdS standards. If you like, you could basically check out vds-shop.de/en. You can get a lot of free downloads there. The problem is they are currently working over on the web shop, so the international version is not online. If you are interested in any special guidelines, just write me an email to the fshar@vds.de and I'll gladly send that over to you. Also, especially for those who are planning and installing fire detection and alarm systems, I've added some info from the planning and installation guidelines. That's too much for the presentation now, but you'll get the PowerPoint afterwards, and this will hopefully be supportive for your important daily work. Also, our guideline on over voltage protection becoming more and more important because of the climate change. Unfortunately, it's not available in English yet, but I've noted down the core important points. Maybe this will be supportive for you. So the core question when it comes to fire protection technology is always, does the whole thing really safely, surely work? And the mission of VdS is to answer exactly this core question for you. So you can take off this highly important point and concentrate on all the other difficult planning and consulting issues you need to focus on. We take this very important duty off your back because you will know long-term reliability made visible at first sight. Okay, gracias por su tiempo. I do hope this was useful to you, to our joint case of protecting human lives and costly properties and the environment. If you like, check the VdS LinkedIn channel for all guideline news. Yeah, this is the official VdS slide, but we've been so serious the past 30 minutes, so I say you highly deserve an even nicer slide. Los Señoritas de Oktoberfest, Blumenau, Brazil at the German Oktoberfest. I really like this. There's one other bad thing about being online. I can't see any happy audience faces right now. Sorry on that. Anyhow, thanks for listening.
Thank you, Florian. In the meantime, we have received one question in the Q&A, but
Right on it.
dear guest, I would like to ask you to enter all of your questions. Now I would like to give the floor to Ivan, and then at the end we will answer all questions, okay? So Ivan, the floor is yours.
Okay, then.
Can you see? So you are able to, I'm going to give
No,
the
I don't have the rights yet.
Okay, then you will have, it's flying. Once again. Okay, the floor is yours.
Okay, then I'll. So can you change the presentation?
I have changed the presentation.
Let me check. Ah, here it is.
Okay.
Now I can. Now I see it. So, okay, I'll change to Spanish. Ok, buenos días a todos. Muchísimas gracias por su presencia, por su atención. Y aparte de la muy valiosa presentación del doctor Florian, queríamos hablarles también un poco de, ok, ya sé que puedo diseñar sistemas de detección de incendios basados en NFPA usando los sistemas certificados bajo EN o VdS. La siguiente pregunta es, bueno, ¿cómo lo hago? ¿Qué puedo hacer o quién me puede ayudar a hacerlo? Y en ese sentido, quisimos darles un teaser, una vista muy rápida de una herramienta que ha desarrollado Bosch y que está disponible en nuestra página web que ustedes pueden descargar gratis, que es el Safety System Designer. Esta es una herramienta diseñada para consultores y arquitectos, pero que también puede ser usada por usuarios finales para verificar que su sistema funciona bien, puede ser utilizada por integradores de sistemas para realizar el diseño rápido y los cálculos técnicos de su sistema. Entonces, es una herramienta bastante flexible y bastante práctica para cuando yo quiero diseñar un sistema de detección. Entonces, básicamente, ¿qué ventajas tiene usar el Safety System Designer? Primero, que es muy fácil de usar, es básicamente todo de forma gráfica. Yo arrastro y coloco los dispositivos en los paneles, en los lazos. Tengo la posibilidad de hacer cálculos muy rápidos de la carga que tiene cada lazo, de la carga de las baterías, de la distancia que puedo usar de cada lazo. Entonces tengo información a la mano muy rápida de los límites que puedo llegar con mi sistema. Esta herramienta, como les decía, está diseñada con ventajas para consultores y arquitectos, para integradores, para distribuidores. Entonces es una herramienta flexible para todos. La principal ventaja que nosotros vemos es ayudar a optimizar el tiempo en los diseños, porque no es solamente el diseño, sino que yo además tengo la posibilidad de exportar el texto completo para un concurso público sin los nombres y los números de parte para que sea legal. Y esta es una herramienta que cubre toda la cadena de valor, desde el momento del diseño hasta el momento de los entregables que tendría que, por ejemplo, dar un diseñador o un integrador. Como les decía, es una solución completa para la planificación. Aquí ustedes pueden ver una forma muy sencilla de cómo se ve la interfase gráfica del Safety System Designer. Es bastante intuitivo, es muy rápido de usar. Tengo un feedback constante de los errores, es decir, si yo coloco demasiados dispositivos en un lazo, si la cantidad de dispositivos que coloco sobrepasa la capacidad de corriente o de voltaje del lazo, si la cantidad de dispositivos que estoy colocando sobrepasa los límites técnicos del panel, yo siempre voy a tener un feedback inmediato de todos esos errores o de las cosas que debo tomar en cuenta. Con esta ventaja yo tengo una forma muy fácil de revisar los límites de diseño. Tengo la posibilidad de no solamente ver la parte gráfica como ustedes ven ahí, sino que además ver en forma de tabla y exportar a Excel cada consumo de cada parte del sistema, los números de partes si es necesario, el bill of materials. Puedo extraer en Word o en PDF el texto completo de las especificaciones técnicas del sistema, como les decía, para el uso en concursos públicos o privados, en el idioma que sea necesario, sea español, sea portugués, sea inglés. Tengo la posibilidad también de exportar gráficamente el diseño de la red de paneles, si estoy usando una red, o del diseño del sistema. Y lo mejor de todo para ustedes es que la herramienta es completamente gratis y está disponible para descarga en nuestra página web. Entonces, es una forma muy fácil de diseñar sistemas. Y como les decía, y un poco alineado con el tema de hoy, es si yo tengo un sistema Avenar que está diseñado bajo certificación VdS o EN54, también este sistema se puede diseñar e instalar bajo las guías de la NFPA, e incluso el SSD en algunas partes toma en cuenta los límites técnicos de la NFPA 72. Entonces ustedes pueden usar el SSD sin problema para sus diseños cuando un proyecto requiere un diseño bajo lo que dice la NFPA 72. Como les digo, no solamente el sistema es muy fácil de usar, sino que además tiene muchas formas de entregar información. Entonces tengo la posibilidad de configurar el sistema de forma gráfica. En la siguiente versión que vamos a lanzar en noviembre, además voy a tener la posibilidad de poner, por ejemplo, todo mi sistema en Excel y luego importarlo directamente al SSD, y el SSD va a ser un balance práctico de cada lazo para ponerme y diseñarme todo el sistema, si es que yo requiero eso para no sé, un cálculo rápido de los límites técnicos o un cálculo rápido de precio. Entonces, eso va a estar disponible en la siguiente versión que sale en noviembre, pero por el momento tengo la posibilidad de exportar toda la configuración del sistema completa: paneles, módulos, lazos, interfaces, redes, consumo de cada dispositivo, bill of materials, el texto para las licitaciones, consumo completo de baterías, todos los parámetros de lazo, distancia, consumo, corriente, voltaje, estimados, el uso de fuentes. Puedo exportar la vista gráfica completa del sistema, y todo esto lo puedo exportar en Excel. Todas las tablas se pueden exportar en Excel. Puedo exportar el texto en Word, y tengo la posibilidad de exportar las vistas gráficas sea en JPG, PNG o en XPS. Entonces tengo mucha flexibilidad para meter toda esta información en mi documentación del sistema. Y estamos trabajando en el futuro en además tener la posibilidad de importar y exportar información, por ejemplo, de AutoCAD o del mismo RPS con el que se configura el panel físicamente. Entonces, es una herramienta que está en constante evolución. Si ustedes quieren descargar, bueno, esta presentación también se la vamos a enviar. Pueden descargar el software de nuestra página, y también pueden encontrar en nuestras páginas los entrenamientos en español y en portugués. Les agradezco por su atención y creo que ahora podemos pasar a las preguntas. So Florian, there is one question one of our attendees posted, and he asks if it's mandatory to monitor the water sprinkler system with the fire panel, or if it can be independent.
No, it's basically, this is part of the system, so it should be monitored. because if you have a fire detection system that can monitor this very important part, the sprinklers, then of course you should do this. So yes, it is mandatory according to VdS.
Then we have another question, but this one is about the safety system designer. No, Jaime, infortunadamente no. El SSD por el momento está solo disponible para Windows, no para computadoras con el OS Apple.
Okay, I see una más de señor González aquí para Costa Rica.
So maybe that one is yours because I can't see it.
Okay, then I'm just going to read it. In Costa Rica, the fireman department rules for fire detection are national law, and the systems allowed are UL NFPA 72. Bosch EN54 are listed by NFPA VdS and accomplished NFPA 72 and can be used in Costa Rica. Basically, yes, if NFPA 72 is accepted, then the Bosch systems should also be accepted because they go according to NFPA 72. I can send you some written proof on this if you just write me an email to the fschar@vds.de or enter your email here, or you check the VdS LinkedIn channel mañana, then I will have the document online. So you got some proof you can show to the Costa Rica firemen. But basically there are trade agreements between the European Union and América Latina and stating that EN54 is to be accepted. So I would clearly say yes. Okay, then one question, the Senor Velasco. Ivan, are you seeing this?
Yes, that one I can see.
Yeah, what recommendation make VdS about fire? I think there's something more coming. Fire protection in parking. Yeah, we have a guideline specially on this. If you like, just send me an email over, because that's also quite an important point, and I can send the guideline over to you. Will hopefully be helpful.
So I can't see more questions.
It's good to say we answered everything. Unless anything else is coming up, then always use the email possibility.
Yeah, then nice. There is again your email. So if they have a question, then you can. Si tienen preguntas, ahí está la dirección de Florian, o me pueden escribir a mí, no hay ningún problema, o contactarnos a través de la web de Bosch.